This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Jesus, Putin can go on, can't he? He talked a lot last night. So much so that I thought you all needed probably a bit of a rest after it, and that's why I didn't come back on. There were a few things that I did forget to mention in the excitement of the Putin speech. And interesting as it was, glad that we're not at war right at the moment. I thought Putin's speech was probably one of the best speeches I've heard in a long time from any leader. A truly national inspired speech, trying to motivate the people and warning those who've gone maybe outside of Russia to make their millions that they should consider bringing those millions back and help Russia through this period as well. Can't say that I fault his logic in what he's saying there at all. So it was a really good speech. Of course, there were headlines today, in fact, straight after the speech, during the speech, in fact, on news.com.au, that Putin was going to, take us to the brink of war. If anybody had actually listened to that speech, and I must congratulate the Aussie Cossack on his translating, it was a huge job to be able to translate such a long speech, and he is to be commended on the magnificent job that he did. It's a very difficult thing to hear one language in your ear and have a different one come out your mouth and saying the same things. So hats off to Simeon. He did an outstanding job. But once again, Putin said he will protect his nation. He will not start a war, but he will protect himself, and they certainly have the ability to do that. I'm quite surprised Russia haven't, in a tit-for-tat move, taken some of the power away from those comfortable places in France and Europe, or France and England, that would have been involved in the Nord Stream pipeline decisions, the NATO decisions to take out the Nord Stream pipeline. Now, that's a really, really big deal. If you're not aware of how the Nord Stream pipeline works or feeds gas into Europe, particularly Germany, and where Nord Stream 2 was going, make yourself aware. That is a very, very big cash cow, if you like, for the Russians. It's not so much a cash cow. Europe needs the gas, and Russia has it, so it's a win-win. Except when the Americans, who foreshadowed the fact they were going to blow up Nord Stream, did, in fact, blow up Nord Stream. Of course, they're denying they did that. They only did an exercise. Was it a week or two before the thing blew up? That exercise was, in fact, how to blow up the Nord Stream pipelines. It's now been revealed that it's alleged that the US Navy dropped divers, clearance divers down. They left explosives with receivers on them, on the pipeline. And some days afterwards, a plane carrying a sonar buoy dropped that buoy over the site. That thing made a ping, and that detonated or triggered the explosives on the pipeline. That was Nord Stream 1. Nord Stream 2 had something similar happen to it, but there was a French submarine very close to it at the time and seen evacuating the area at a rather rapid rate, so the story goes. So I don't know. There is a lot more to go on there, I think, but I think Putin's speech last night was very strong. And I don't think that we should believe Russia is going to be taking us to World War III anytime soon. NATO, on the other hand, they will, with America's backing. Joe Biden hasn't even managed to visit Ohio yet, where the state has effectively been poisoned. Water, air, and land. Poisoned beyond anything that is fixable in the near to medium term. In fact, some of the figures that I saw today on the chemical residues that are going to be left over from what's happened in Ohio can last up to 500, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 years. Now, that's in the land. Now, if this stuff falls in the water, it will eventually make its way to the bottom of, that lake or that river or whatever, and it will sit there and it will just keep making whatever falls on top of it toxic. Joe Biden goes to where? Ukraine. And what does he do? He gives them $500 million more in aid. Rest assured, our elbow, yes, elbows, he's going to be doing that too. You can bet on it. He'll love doing that. And Penny Wong will be out there waving the bloody flag as well. You can rest it out. Is anybody seeing this shit for what it is? Seriously. Are your friends seeing this? Is anybody seeing this outside of us? Well, apparently that is the case. There is a little bit of news. Well, actually, before I get into that, let's talk about Guru. Now, Guru's going to court tomorrow on the, we don't know what charges. Ray Hadley opened his big fat gob again today, I hear. Ray Hadley's very, 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 very tough man on the radio. He's a full brutal on 2GB. Absolute pig of a human being, and we'll never have Dave Graham on the radio. I think he said so today. He won't have me on the radio either because, well, frankly, he doesn't want to be embarrassed. Ray is not a smart man. He's just a bully, a big, fat bully. So that's something we've probably got in common. The fat part. I don't like to think that I'm a bully. But I'll make the offer, Ray. You can come on my show because I know you won't have me on yours. But by all means, you go and get your little mate to, I'm sure she's watching. She'll line this up for you. You and I have got a history, Ray, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about yours. In fact, I've got what sort of a broadcaster you really are. Just what kind of an absolute pig of a man and bully you are. I got a line as long as my arm that wants to line up and tell their stories about you. Oh, that excludes the ones that you've paid off. Paid to keep quiet, or the network is paid to keep quiet. What do they call that? A settlement with no admission, Ray? You got plenty of those in your back pocket, haven't you? Anyway, you want to get on and chat about real things. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Ray. I've got a real one for you, and we can prove it. You want to come and talk to me about it? Let's do it. But it's no conspiracy. It is a fact, Ray, and I just don't think you're man enough to talk about it. If you are, by all means, Ben's got my number. Give me a call, you wanker. Have you heard some interesting news about the stock market, folks? Now, I don't give dates. I don't like giving dates. It's a waste of time to give dates. So take what I'm about to say with a pinch of salt. 1 o'clock in the morning, would be midnight-ish, I dare say, in southern states or anybody on daylight savings time. Will be about 10 o'clock in New York City. And that is when the bell will ring to open the New York Stock Exchange on the 21st of February, I believe. Now, yes, I'm thinking that's probably the case. Is the New York Stock Exchange shaking at all? I haven't seen any indication that the stock market is under shaky ground in any way, shape or form. I haven't heard anything yesterday or today about the stock market being on shaky ground. But there are some who are suggesting that the stock market is going to start its Black Swan event on the 21st of February, being yesterday, but today in America. So keep an eye out for that one. If that is to happen, well, that might be the Black Swan event that people have been talking about. We are waiting for a Black Swan event. Certainly there cannot be two financial systems running at the same time. Although at the moment there are. They are running in parallel. One, if you like, is mirroring the other. But you can't have them both active running in the same system at the same time. So one of them is going to have to implode, and that is going to be the fiat system, which is deeply tied, obviously, into the stock exchange. So we wait. A couple of dates thrown out recently by some others. The 21st, American 21st of February being that date. So I would expect that any time from midnight on. If there's going to be a crash, it'll start from then. Maybe when we wake up in the morning, we'll see the boards are all red, and some of us might be smiling a lot. I don't know. But there is certainly no word of it anywhere else, and no indication that the market is doing anything other than making the rich richer at this point in time. So I find that a little bit sad. Anyway, Guru, back off into court tomorrow. Now let's have a bit of a talk about Guru's appearance tomorrow. Now, Guru and I have had a number of conversations over the last couple of days, and I was going to talk extensively about this last night. I have to be a little bit careful about what I say because this is an active court case at the end of the day. But I can tell you, regardless of what Ray Hadley thinks, as of right now, I believe Dave Graham has not been charged with anything. There is an AVO, absolutely an AVO, and it's for a private domestic problem. I don't understand how that could be the problem, given that the people that he has tried to supposedly intimidate were working at a radio station that thrives, indeed has to have call-in callers on the phone before they have much of a program. Apparently, it's intimidation to ring up and say, "Listen, if you don't put me on, I'm all my followers are going to ring." Sorry about that. They are. Now, that's not making a threat. That's just making a statement. But the fact is, these people work professionally. They work in a professional environment, a professional radio station, a professional talkback radio station, and their basic job of employment is answering the phone. They are not necessarily trained, but they are able to pick up the phone, and they will get anybody from a sick old man or a sick old lady needing a bit of help, which they will fix immediately, to somebody who's a bit irate about something. And they will assess whether or not that something is worth putting on the radio and trying to get the host a bit irate about as well, or if they can help you out. Well, how on earth you can be intimidated? You would have to be intimidated every time you went to answer the phone. You'd have to be worried every time you went to answer the phone, wouldn't you? The fact that the AVO has been taken out in a personal and domestic situation too is not it's a bit weird, isn't it? Because it's not a personal or domestic situation. It's a professional situation, much more a professional situation in a professional broadcaster that professionally takes telephone calls from the public for a living. That's how they do their business. So while there is an AVO, Dave cannot go within 200 metres, I think it is, of the town hall in Sydney. No, it might be 2 kilometres. I beg your pardon. 2 kilometres within the town hall in Sydney. That was his only proviso after the arrest last week. Don't go within 2 kilometres of town. You know what these bloody idiot goppers did the other day? Day before yesterday, I think it was. Might have been yesterday morning. They raced down to arrest him. Came down to the boat again. 4 of them. All looking very resplendent in their regalia. Come to arrest you, Dave. You're within 2 kilometres of the town hall. Yeah, 2 kilometres of the Wollongong town hall. 1.3 kilometres, Dave, is actually from the Wollongong town hall. Fortunately, the order was for the Sydney town hall, but Wollongong police clearly have a problem reading or are just too stupid and taking advice from those people in Sydney simply to try and harass Dave. Now, when they when they came on board and searched his boat, they didn't take any drugs off the boat. I believe allegedly Win Television will be reporting 7 drug charges to be brought up against him. Well, if that is the case, those 7 drug charges haven't been laid against Dave yet. Now, that's not to say that they won't lay charges at the court tomorrow morning, first thing. But what charges will be interesting, because Dave couldn't name 7 drugs when I asked him. So be interesting to see what they've found, if they've found anything. And the more interesting point for me would be, how did Win Television know that there were charges like that, if in fact they come through. Because at the moment, I stress again, there are no charges. No charges. Dave has no paperwork saying you have been charged with. He has AVO paperwork saying you cannot go within 2 kilometres of the town hall in Sydney, and you cannot approach Ben Fordham or whatever this girl's name is, which he had no intention of doing. So I'm struggling a bit to know exactly why he's going to court tomorrow, maybe just to hear something on that AVO. But it is possible that the DPP, in their immense stupidity, and they are, actually they're not stupid, they're evil, because they are working very definitely for the other side, and they will try and lay Dave up for whatever they can. During the course of that search, while they didn't find or take drugs or anything else out of the boat, they did take everything required for Dave's election run. They took all of the electioneering paraphernalia that Dave had just created or had delivered. Flyers, all that sort of stuff. All of it gone. All the paperwork for his actual submission to run, although that's been redone now. You've got to get 40 original wedding signatures for that. And they took all that paperwork. Don't plan on giving it back to him anytime soon. He was in court yesterday on an unrelated matter. Now, we didn't talk about it, but I want to say it'll have something to do with the building site that he was on, and they'd left some sand or something out on the road because A, the site wasn't big enough, and B, the cement mixer broke down when it got to the site from memory, and they needed to do some mixing out on the road, and then they bucketed the whole job in rather than had it pumped in. Somebody came along and issued a fine for that, and I think Dave was going to dispute that. I'm not sure if that's what he was in there for yesterday, but rest assured it wasn't for any number of drug charges or assaults or carrying on with anybody in any untoward way, or at least that's my understanding. So they are making up stories left and right about Dave Graham, and that should tell you something good. Means that they're petrified. They are scared shitless of what Dave Graham and Ricardo Bosey could do should they get elected on March 25th in the New South Wales Upper House. Now, I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it until the 25th of March. It doesn't matter if you don't like Dave Graham. It doesn't matter if you don't like Ricardo Bosey. It doesn't matter if you don't even know the names of the two other people at this stage, and I believe there might be a couple more come out, who are going to run as independents and try and shuffle whatever votes they get towards Dave and Ricardo as well. Now, we stand a real chance with your protest vote of getting these two guys elected and getting people's eyes in that place for the first time in a very long time. You can be guaranteed that both those sets of eyes will be looking out for the people, not out for themselves and what they can make out of it. That isn't how these two gentlemen work. I know, I've spent some time with them. So doesn't matter if you think Dave's a bit rough around the edges. Doesn't matter if you think Ricardo's a bit too military for you, or whatever your problem is with either of them. The fact of the matter is, if you are unhappy with Liberal and Labor Party, the Greens, and anybody else who's had some level of control in this country, in your state or federal election, federal governments, this is the opportunity for you to make a real change. If you're one of those people who just hates them all and just goes to vote so you can draw a dick on your election on the ballot paper and get your name marked off so you don't get the fine. Well, this time, I know your artistic and creative work is important to you, but this time, actually make that vote count. Make it a protest vote in the upper house and vote for Dave Graham and Ricardo Bosey. By doing that, you're going to you're not going to give them any power where they're going to be able to rule roughshod over the world if that's what you're concerned about. All you're going to do is get them in the door. That will get them in the door. And from there, the one or the two of them that get in will be able to see how the system is working. And I think Ricardo's made it pretty clear what he plans to do. You know, numpties like Ray Hadley will tell you they're going to tear the system down. Well, look, it sounds dramatic, but the fact of the matter is Trojan horsing works very well. If you can get inside the system, you can see how it works and you can attack its weakest points. Now, Ricardo might have a number of different strategies for how he's going to work this once he gets in, but I can guarantee you every one of those strategies will be about informing the people, the betterment of the people, working for us, not working for those bastards who've been lining their own pockets on us for God knows how long. So please, folks, do everybody a favour in New South Wales. And if you don't like them, just make it a protest vote this time round and make it count. Make it count. Give us, the people, some eyes inside the New South Wales Parliament. Give us, the people, the ability to witness the corruption firsthand. Give us, the people, the ability to put a warrior in there who will show us all what's going on. Better still, let's put two in there. So in the upper house election coming up on the 25th of March in New South Wales, vote one Ricardo Bosey, and right underneath him put Dave Guru Graham. I don't think we need Ray Hadley's support to get him elected. In fact, I can't begin to imagine what Ray will say when this happens. But it is more than just a possibility, folks. It is more than just a possibility. We've seen the numbers. We've seen some pre-polling figures. And there is a lot of excitement in, well, particularly regional areas, but there is a fair bit of excitement in the city areas too for Dave Graham and Ricardo running. Okay, the inner city parts of Sydney aren't too happy and couldn't care less. But there is an awful lot of New South Wales that's very keen. So please, folks, even if you don't like them, make sure you put your protest vote in for them. Don't vote the bastards back in who've been doing this same thing to us over and over and over again. Not that we have much of a choice. They're going to get voted back in, one or the other. But what you can do is put in one, maybe two sets of eyes that will keep the bastards honest for us, the people. So I would commend to you to really consider that. If you are a protest voter, then please don't waste your protest vote by drawing a very elegant and I'm sure terribly lifelike penis. Go in and actually tick the boxes. Really piss the bastards off because they don't care about your artwork. They don't see it. But they will hate seeing David Graham and Ricardo Bosey walking the halls of the New South Wales Parliament. Every time they walk those halls, every time they are seen by one of the others, it'll be a reminder that we, the people, are watching. And I think that's a very important thing going forward. We need to have more say because at the moment, the lawyers who turn into politicians are not doing anything for us. Aaron has a great suggestion. Yes, put somebody in a little fart out loud. I think that'll be pretty much too. Just having a bit of a look. Hi, Dave. Nice to see you. Hope Tassie's going all well. Hello, Aussie Sue. Josie's in. Pineapple. No more two-tier parties ever again. No, we want to get rid of them completely. In fact, that is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to our political system. The fact that parties, even though illegal under the Constitution, have been allowed to roam free. Why is nobody asking any of the politicians that they get on their radio show, Ray, why aren't you asking them about the illegality of party politics? Oh, that's right. Somewhere someone owes you or you owe someone, maybe. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Used to be a bit of a back scratcher in your day. Oh, no, that was another thing, wasn't it, Ray? We haven't got onto the 28 names. Don't think yours is one of those protected. So, but we will see, I guess. We will see. Yes, we do need new blood. That's probably, I think, one of the biggest catch cries that we can have, folks. New blood. We've got to get new blood. And the more of it we can get in there, the better it will be. Unfortunately, this time around, we might only get 2. Who knows? There are 4. I think there could be as many as 6 independents running that will align. Maybe enough protest votes, we get them all over the line, folks. Wouldn't that be good? Imagine getting 6 of them in the upper house. Now that then becomes a bit of a movement where you are capable of holding people to account. I think I think it'd be a great thing if it happened. Absolutely great thing if it would happen. We've got to get it done. Victoria is in big trouble with the Dick. That would be Dictator Dan. Yeah. So I guess the other thing we're looking at too after the Victorian election, nobody believes that election result is real. Nobody in Victoria, nobody outside of Victoria. The only people who believe it's real are the ones trying to enforce it and keep it real. And of course, that would be Dan and his fogies. Don't worry, all that's going to come to a grinding halt too in the not too distant future. And I do believe it is the not too distant future, folks. I know that we keep saying, oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Have we suffered enough yet? No, I don't think we probably have. But we are called the lucky country, and we're a long way from anywhere. If our biggest suffering is being homeless and on the streets for a while, then compared to what's going on in Europe and in America, where there are false flag events happening, more mass shootings happening in America, and of course, every man and his dog seems to be very interested in chemicals on trains. In the last 48 hours, there have been 16 pipe bombs or other derailment implements pulled off American rail lines designed to derail trains. Now, Antifa, who Joe Biden doesn't believe existed, have been given the instructions on how to derail a train. Once those were posted, it took 3 days for that Ohio train disaster to happen. Apparently, there's something to do with a wire that they, spread between the 2 rails, and it short circuits something in the engines, and they can't stop them or whatever. I don't know. Don't know if that was actually the case for Ohio. From what I've heard, I believe it was a broken axle, which was due to lax maintenance issues. All of the train lines where all of these train issues have happened in America, and I think there are 6 of them now, various parts are owned by BlackRock. BlackRock has also come out and will now be the investment arm for the Ukrainian government. Yeah. So I just have to say the pantomime continues. BlackRock will be the investment arm for and give advice to the Ukrainian government going forward. That ties in quite nicely because clearly BlackRock, Vanguard, and there's one other company that are heavily involved, but BlackRock and Vanguard are the powers in all of this, I guess, for the deep state and the companies behind it all. Obviously, they're lining up to see what little money they can extract out of Ukraine on the way out the door. There won't be much. I think all the money's been picked up. I think what you saw last night was Putin saying, there's nowhere else to run. There's nowhere to hide. We are coming relentless for you, and we will take back Donbass. And if you are at all Nazi orientated, and that's the only way to put it, because the people who are fighting, the conscripts, and they are being, fighting age men are being taken off the streets of Kiev right, by Ukrainian soldiers, and are essentially being, I forget, there used to be an old naval term for it, but they are being taken to military bases where they are either killed or they are put in uniform to fight, where they are used as cannon fodder and used, in some cases, shot by Ukrainian forces so that they can be filmed and say, oh, the Russians did this. And they are taking their own people off their own streets to do that. There is plenty of vision of it available. You can go out and find it anywhere you like. Telegram is always a good place to go and have a bit of a look for that sort of stuff. Now, Starseed's in the chat again tonight. He's having a great time. There is some interesting talk about giants. Now, we've talked about Nephilim before, and giants are a source for me of never-ending questions. I am just so full of them. And Chris posted an interesting thing up on his Starseeds page today, that 5 giants are now waking. But are they really giants? Turns out they could be geneticists. Why would there be 5 giant geneticists put into a sleep stasis for thousands of years? And how do we know that there are 5? Because we've found 5. One in Afghanistan from memory, one in Iraq from memory, one in Antarctica from memory. I think there is one in Arizona or the Grand Canyon. And there's another one somewhere else. So what are they? Who are they? Where are they? What's the plan? And why are they waking up? All questions that Chris Starseed would be very pleased to answer for you, I'm sure, if you want to pop over onto his channel at some stage and have a bit of a natter. Oh, yeah. And now he's saying, wait until we find out who they all are. So, look, I've teased it now. I guess I've got to have him on the program. So we'll have to figure that out the next day or two, and we'll talk about these giants. There are some interesting photos of them available too. And the photos have been available, I would say now, for over 10 years. The first giant, if you like, was found in Iraq. That's what I'm led to believe. The second one, they had a fight with in Afghanistan, and I'm led to believe was killed. But we'll have to wait and see if that really is the case, I guess. But there is a lot to try and take in, and some of it is mind-boggling. We talked yesterday about 3 RAR training up in Townsville. Their people protection training. Now, I've had a lot of emails today about it, and I've had a couple of phone calls, well, more than a couple of phone calls about it. Don't get too upset just yet, folks. Take great heart out of what they name the videos and what they're calling those videos. It's people protection. Now, okay, you could argue that the coppers are people, and if they're protecting their own people, then that is people protection. Yes, but they wouldn't phrase it that way. It wouldn't be phrased as in people protection training if it was to protect themselves or the coppers behind them. And let's face it, the coppers do not need protection. They've got all that and more riot gear than what you saw the army using the other day. In fact, we know the Victorian police have automatic tear gas launchers. We know they have fully automatic beanbag guns and a variety of other supposedly non-lethal toys at their disposal. I'm pretty confident we'll discover most states have exactly that. Of course, the only major difference, I guess, with the army and the police in Victoria is the army are dressed in fatigues. The police are dressed like jack-booted bloody thugs in most other states. And that includes New South Wales with a counter-terrorism group dressed in their best blackened ski masks. Paid Dave Graham a visit there last week. Embarrassingly. How embarrassed must they be Oh, no, they don't get embarrassed because they just get, we got a job. Let's get the guns. Let's get the masks. Let's get all the pads on. Yeah. Bloody makers. Yeah, when there is a real terrorist situation, how long did it take you fuckers to get into Man Monis? How long was he in there shooting people before any one of you dickheads decided to make a move? Oh, yeah, hours and hours shooting people. Yeah. But, by God, you can get in your car and travel down from Sydney to Wollongong like that. Yep. Bunch of jackbooted stormtroopers. Fucking hilarious that you couldn't fit on the boat. That's hilarious. I think that's just a scream. And then you started whining about how hot it was inside when you got in there. Well, maybe if you took your masks off and your gloves off and your headgear and all that protection that you're wearing because, well, big blokes like you shouldn't have to worry about Dave Graham taking you on. Let's be serious. Yeah, fucking cowards. Cowards. I understand you need to protect yourself in the right circumstance, but when you're going to call out counter-terrorism, it had better be for something that's real, not a political agenda. And it's just weak. But that is a signature of your side, isn't it? Weakness. Just pathetic weakness. Oh, that and, drinking children's blood and torturing people and all that sort of shit. You love that sort of shit too. That's all right. That'll come to an end. And the people will get their say there and then too. So very disappointed that you would be carrying on in the way that you are. Tomorrow, folks, if you can go to Wollongong tomorrow, go and support Dave. He's got to be at the court at 10 o'clock. We'd love to see a whole bunch of people out the front of the courthouse to support him. At this stage, I'm not aware, and I haven't spoken to Dave today, but as of about just before he went to air last night, he had no charges, no paperwork for any charges at all against him. That's not to say that the bastards won't go and throw those charges at him right on the doorstep as he walks in the court tomorrow. But we've had to talk about what to do if that happens. And I'm sure that Patriot 101 Glenn will be around to help him out too. There will be a lot of support. But if you'd like to go and support Dave and Mel, I'm sure Mel would use the support. Be under no misapprehension, folks. The way the coppers are playing this, they are likely to put a charge up against him tomorrow. That means they take him tomorrow and that he doesn't get out until whatever next court date, or then he has to apply for bail and then go and find thousands of dollars to get bail, no doubt. Their whole modus operandi in this is to stop him running in this election. And they may well succeed in doing that. I hope not, but they may well succeed. So if this is something you think should stop, then get to the Wollongong courthouse by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Dave and Mel will be there. Mel's going to need some support if Dave is locked up tomorrow. We're not expecting that, but anything is possible with these bastards. They are likely to come up with some completely made-up charge that the judge says, righto, well, we're all going inside right now, bang the gavel, come back tomorrow or the next day for a bail hearing. So that is a real possibility. Even at this juncture where there are no charges, and Dave has been made aware of no charges against him. None. But the sneaky fucks, that's what they're likely to do. Present them in the court tomorrow as he arrives and say, well, that's what we're charging you with. Bang, 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 bang. And away you go. There is a plan of attack. There is a very good plan of attack should that actually happen. Maybe there'll be an outbreak of common sense. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. Fingers crossed. But at any rate, look, if you can get to Wollongong tomorrow, maybe you're in the area, please, Dave and Mel would love your support. It would mean the world to them. And now that's a very good question. He is, because he's on the water. But the court is also running on maritime law. So I don't know, Warmo, how that would work. But yeah, the court works on maritime law. So That's the great hoodwink. Yeah, they might suddenly link his DNA to a cold case. They could do all sorts of strange things, because remember they have that what is it? A disrupt bill that they can essentially hack into your computer, type stuff on your behalf, and then charge you for typing it, charging you for having that stuff on your computer. They could ostensibly fill up the computers with kiddie porn if they wanted and charge him for that. That's what that disrupt bill means. They can get in, fiddle around with your computers, and then come and knock on your door, take your computers, and discover, oh, something illegal that you never put on there. So if and when Dave gets his electronics back, I think the first thing they'll do is be going over the side. I'm pretty confident they will have already bugged the boat. So, we'll see what happens. I don't think that he will get locked up. I hope he doesn't, but it once again depends on whatever they put out there. Christoph, I've just about had enough of you, dude. So I'll give you one more go, but you nearly left us. Sunflower. Oh, she's talking to George. What do I think of Jared Rennick? Oh, Jared Rennick's question time with Rob Lowe. Yeah. I think Jared Rennick is doing a great job at the moment. I think he is really on the side of the people. They are asking some very interesting questions, not just of the likes of Rob Lowe. They are going into all departments. In fact, I watched a great one today on how Aboriginality and Torres Strait Islander descendancy is proved if you want to be part of the voice. How do you prove, or what are the steps to go through to prove that you qualify to be Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander? And that was interesting. The minister involved said, "Oh, that's a bordering on racist question." Well, it's not really. What hoops do you have to jump through to qualify to be part of the voice? That's a basic question. What do you have to jump through? How do you prove that you qualify to be part of the voice? But there were 60 odd people in that room today, and not one of them could answer that question. Not one of them. And that's because they're all Laborites. They don't have answers. They just have great ideas that blow up in their faces and, cost people their lives. Remember the Pink Bats scandal? Minister Garrett? That's the kind of thing that these pricks do. Knee-jerk reactions, don't think about it, try and appease a certain group. And it's a very small group that Albanese is trying to appease. There is a lot, and I've actually got interview requests in with Jacinta Price and a couple of other Aboriginal leaders who do not want the voice, who are not supportive of it in any way. In fact, I'm led to believe by Auntie Jenny that in Darwin, all the elders up there are dead set against it as well. I'm led to believe that through the Ngunnawal people around Canberra, everybody there is against it. Haven't heard any support too much coming out of certain areas of Victoria. Some areas in Victoria are supporting it. They'd be the areas that are currently being paid very, very well by Dan's crooked crowd and co. Victoria has always been a hotbed of deceit when it comes to monies involved for our Aboriginal peoples. And I remember well Framlingham Forest. I remember well the man who used to run the nation's money for Aboriginals. Old Jeff looked after himself very well. Didn't look after his people too much, though. Senator Price has very definitely said no. And in fact, every day she is raising great and meaningful arguments against this, educating Aboriginal and Torres Strait Torres Strait Islander people, what this is all about. Now let's just look at it for a moment. There are 11 people in the parliament already that identify as Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander. That's 11 representatives in the parliament already for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Now, they represent 4.2% of the parliament. But unfortunately, that is an overrepresentation of the Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people in our communities, which is much lower at about 2%. So we've already got 11 people representing in Parliament as Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, people with an Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander voice, 11 of them. That's more representatives than I have in Parliament, right? Why do we need the voice? Who's going to benefit out of this voice? I can tell you, the politicians, because all that money they're going to give away is going to come right back at them. It'll just come back washed and donated to them in a different way. It's how these bastards make it work. So, vote no for the voice. That would be my take on that too. Hello, Melissa's Freedom. Lovely to see you out tonight. And let me have a look who else is here. Can Dave ask if anyone has been charged by consent? Right. Don't know what that conversation's all about. Okay, let's have a look here. This looks a bit interesting. Any news on the manhunt that's underway to track down 3 Liberal Party members, including the Premier's brother? Apparently, serious allegations of misconduct surrounding Sydney City Council. I have heard that. In fact, I heard this about a week ago. Oh, it might even be a little longer than that. That there was some sort of investigation surrounding Sydney City Council. I'm not familiar with the names. Clover Moore's name was mentioned, though. Now, I want to say she's a former mayor or may still be the mayor. She was heavily involved in state politics too there for a while, I think, going back. And I have no doubt I saw her campaigning for Teals during the federal election, I want to say. Might be wrong there, but yeah. The banner words are so clear, Carl, but blurry. Anybody else getting the same thing? To be honest, I'm sitting here playing with my glasses thinking I really should clean these because it's all blurry. But maybe no. But I'm blurry. That could be my fuzzy head. Would it be better if I turn the light on me? Would that be better? Sorry about that. I don't know if that makes my hair any better. See, I've had a very short haircut and my backdrop is bleeding out on me a little bit. So my apologies, folks. That's probably more to do with light and my hair and the fake background. Right. Now, I haven't heard anything about this so much. Zero Time speak to former NT police sergeant exposing the plans to push senior officers out of their roles to be replaced by New World Order goons. Okay, so Maria's got that one. All right, I'll tell you something for nothing here in Queensland. Right now, in Queensland, the Queensland Police Service is 1,200 people under what is deemed safe numbers to be able to police Queensland safely. That's 1,200 police officers short. Why so short? Well, of course, they pushed out everybody who wouldn't get the double squirt. And then, of course, they won't accept anybody who hasn't been jabbed up the waka. So that's thinned down the recruiting process. In fact, the recruitment process in every state of Australia and every territory has almost dried up. Queensland has tried poaching police from other states, offering them more money, offering them free housing and incentives for housing, all so that they will come to Queensland, quit their current policing role and come to Queensland. But it's failing. Every day, more and more police are leaving the service. They are fed up, absolutely fed up to the back teeth with the bullshit that's coming down from their masters above them. The rather interestingly, I won't say that, Commissioner Carroll has a lot to answer for and some splaining to do about a lot of things. But Queenslanders are not safe. Queenslanders are 1,200 police short of minimum staffing levels in Queensland. 1,200 police officers short of minimum staffing levels. So when you wonder where the hell are the cops, when you call them, when you really need them, when that young thug has broken into your house and is terrorizing you, trying to steal your car, trying to steal your jewelry, trying to kill you, don't expect the cops to come anytime soon. They're working probably as hard as they can. I've got to say, I haven't seen a lot of interest in the police working of late. I found myself having to make a police report yesterday. We'll talk about that at a different time. But I received a threat, which we thought was credible. So I had to make a police report about it. They don't care. They could not give a shit. But I've got a report number and I'm going to keep hassling them about it because I can. It's just what I can do. So, yeah. Queensland Police Service, 1,200 members short of minimum staffing requirements. Are you hearing about that in the mainstream media, folks? Would you encourage your children to go and join the police force as a career at the moment? Is that something that you would do? I wouldn't. Not unless your kid's already turned out to have tendencies, psychopathic or otherwise, sociopathic. They like narcissism or they are narcissistic. Then, they've probably got a great future in the coppers. Although it'll be a short future, I'll have to say, because I don't think too many currently in the job will have the job once everything changes over. Nursing. Yep. Critical shortages in nursing in this state as well. I don't know who they've got driving ambulances because apparently ambulance crews are resigning hand over fist. That's why there is so much ramping. It's interesting too that you only hear the sirens now as they go through traffic lights. They don't bother putting them on for the whole day, or rather for the whole journey. Why alert people to the fact that they're on the way to another injury, I guess, or trying to get someone who's having a heart attack to the hospital when they know, look, it's just myocarditis, pericarditis. It just happens, It's the weather. The last couple of years it's been in the wind. It's all it is. Sorry about that. But yeah, all the narcissists are even starting to wonder now. I guess the fully inducted ones, not so much, and they're very much in the coppers, very much running the coppers, and very much running the ambulance service. The poor ambos who are out there in the buses, hell of a job they've got, and I would ask you to be very tolerant and helpful and appreciative of them, folks. They're doing a job. Yes, okay, they're still telling the lie, but I guess, well, it's been my experience, if you get them privately with a conversation, they'll tell you exactly what they think's going on, and it's very much what we believe. And if you ask them why you're still in the job, they say, because if I leave, more people are just going to die. There'll be less ambulances on the road to go and pick them up. So, it's hard to fault the ambos for their logic in that, at least. And I thank them, those of them who are still out there trying to do their best with all of us. But critical mass is going to come, folks. One day there's going to be car accidents on a big highway near you. It's going to require half a dozen ambulances or more. How many people are going to die at home that day? How many people are waking up and finding a loved one dead every morning these days. How many sirens are you hearing from sort of 6 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the morning in your area? That's a good indicator. Sirens in your area between 6 and 9 a.m. when most people wake up. Yeah. Getting a lot of them around here, sadly. Anyway, yes, Jared Rennick's doing a great job. I think at the moment Malcolm's not doing a bad job either. They are asking the questions that need to be asked. They are putting it on the record, and it is being taken down. But at the end of the day, they've all got to go. They've all been part of it. Too little, too late. These guys could have been onto this when we were. Now, just to me, it just smacks of them catching up. Yes, we need them to catch up. Yes, we do need to give them all the information that we have. Yes, we do need them to raise it in Parliament so that Hansard records it. But yeah, there's a lot of shit coming down the pipe, folks. And it might be starting tomorrow. Might not too. Regardless, whatever it is, while we're out there, rest assured we will be still trying to work out who's who in the zoo and who's telling the truth, who's not. Tomorrow is going to be a big day, at least for Guru, if nothing else. It would be a monumental day if the stock market crashes as well. In fact, I don't know what Guru is going to do, because if he's at the Wollongong court at 10 a.m., please go and support him if you can. And the market will open at about, well, the Australian market will open at 10 a.m. He'll be torn, especially if the boards have all gone red. He'll be torn whether or not to go to the court or just go and start reporting, because there could be some interesting things happening if that, in fact, does happen. But who knows, folks? Dates are something I try to steer clear of. It's just something that somebody else mentioned. And look, if it opens up tomorrow and we start seeing things, yeah, wonderful. I think we've still got at least a month from the moment we see first indications to when we're actually going to see any real change. And I think that month is going to be a very bad month. I think they'll fight to the death that month. The bad ones will come out fighting because they've got nothing left to lose. They'll know the jig is up, and they'll want to take as many of us with them as they can. So just remember that, folks. When it does happen, stay inside. That's going to be the big message. Stay inside. Because anybody who's outside, well, let's just say that those that are protecting us won't know whether you're good or bad. It'll look like you're running, and runners get shot. So stay inside if that's what happens. All right. 5th dose advertised today in Tassie. Hey, Josie. Oh, well, you must be so proud. It's taken a couple of weeks longer to get down to Tassie than anywhere else. I think they've started it up here about 2 weeks ago in Queensland. I think it's on the go now in New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia. Lots of people encouraging you to still go and get your 5th jab, although not so much on the Today program, I've noticed, after Carl Stefanovic stepped up and said he was over it and wasn't going to talk about it anymore. Yeah, haven't seen too many more of those sycophantic, bloody epidemiologists that they roll out from Griffith. God, that woman from Griffith. I want to be there for that hanging, really. I mean, she's going to need my size rope, that one. But, yeah. Positive energy and thoughts, Guru's way. That's exactly what we should be doing, Christoph. Well done for thinking of such a thing. Everyone sent positive energy and thoughts, Guru's way for the court tomorrow. You'll be surprised at the power positive thoughts and meditation has. It works. Chris is the man to know about these things too, believe me. So positive thoughts to Guru for tomorrow's court appearance. I really do believe it's going to go off pretty well. I think he should... unless they drop something really weird, he should be going home. But we know how they play. They're quite likely to charge him as he turns up at the court, rearrest him, charge him at the court, and then present him. Could be any number of weird ways they want to do this. So if you can go along and support him tomorrow, it would be much appreciated at the Wollongong Town, not the Wollongong Town Hall, the Wollongong Court. Get there and be a support. Mel and Guru will be there, I guess, from 9:30 somewhere at the front. 10 o'clock, they're meant to be there for, well, the call, I guess, but there's no guarantee that they will be called at 10 a.m. In fact, it's usually the case with us that we're the last called. So be prepared. Maybe take a cup lunch and a thermos, cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever's up your alley, and go and make a day of it. Go and support Mel and Guru. And just if you are going down, make sure that if you are on the road, steer clear of the dickheads, because God
you
knows there are
let
a ton
one
of them out
ant
there.
stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!